Welcome, Marty.
Thank you, Harry. I appreciate you capturing my arrival again for 2023. Harry? Harry? What are you doing? Okay, that's better. I will never, ever understand why cell phone photographers don't turn the phone sideways and use landscape mode. Drives me crazy. Right after I parked, Herman Shelley greeted me at the aircraft. I set up my campsite, and it damn near killed me. Got some bookkeeping done in the pavilion, and watched the first of many rainstorms head my way. Went over to Sleepy Hollow, one of my favorite haunts from last year. Had some beer and some great home-cooked food, and enjoyed the solitude of a pre-Oshkosh Oshkosh. A friend of mine, Carl Martin, gave me a ride back to my campsite where I did more bookkeeping, and then watched more rain come in. It was a wet Oshkosh this year. Went through 5 thunderstorms. I'm not liking this. This rain was completely unforecast. I made it into my tent before it hit, and then I remembered because it was unforecast, I hadn't taped over my filler caps. Tried to go out in the rain and throw tape on the filler caps, hoping it did something. No more tent camping, no more. Oh, and another thing. Did I tell you that my next door neighbor has a flagpole that's strung with lights? I did sleep well that night, and it was a beautiful morning. Carl Martin took me out for breakfast that morning. That was a pleasant surprise. Got to see my friend Jason Seavolt, his RV8. Got the airplane all set up for display. Wandered around a bit, taking some more pictures and watching more clouds build up. This looked really scary, but this burst of cumulonimbus kind of petered out. I decided to go back over to Sleepy Hollow that afternoon. A storm coming, so I hung out underneath that awning and watched the storm hit. The cloudburst ended just as the bar opened. Then I worked my way back to the campsite. That's Herman's RV-8 parked there. He's flown over from Germany. More on that later. I walked around a bit, taking pictures of selected aircraft, most of them pertaining to the owners, which became good friends while I was there. I had to reinforce the tent. It was starting to sag on the windward side. I had to get it done before more rain came. Another beautiful morning. I took pictures of the home-built camping area to see how well everybody had survived the overnight storm. It's Harry Manville's Defiant. We played phone tag a lot. I didn't get a chance to see members of Chapter 113 and 194 over in Camp Schaller because I never got over there. Logistically, it was somewhat difficult. Checked out Air Show Center briefly. It wasn't officially open, so I couldn't walk through it. Did a little bit of exploring. Made plans for the next few days, where I wanted to go and what I wanted to see. Took a tram ride and did a recon run to the South 40. Saw some familiar aircraft. It's really cool how the ultralights pretty much buzz the road as they come into land.
Look at that. There's the Flight Shop's RV-14 tied down in front of the Hartzell location. I didn't see Steve that day, but we did run into each other a couple times during the week. The Vans RV-15 at the Vans tent. I basically took pictures of the unusual aircraft that caught my eye. That yellow RV-8 belongs to Mark Lee. We talked a lot during AirVenture. I had to give my feet a rest. They were sore. I developed some blisters in those boots. Another neighbor, Steve Allison's RV-6A. Sunday evening, they held the home-built camping beer tasting event at the pavilion. I sampled some unique beers. I usually sat by my aircraft in the evenings to greet people who recognized me and to watch the air shows and watch aircraft come and go and watch storms come and go. I'd usually wait until the sun was low enough that the nose of the aircraft would make a good sun shield, and I'd usually stay there until the sun set. My plan was to head down to the south end and do some exploration. I was surprised that the trams weren't running right away, so I did a lot of walking early in the morning. I stopped by the main hangars and said hello to Jason Smith at Aerotronics and to Rhonda Barrett. By then the trams were running, so I went down to the ultralight area. Did some exploration there. It's amazing how expensive some ultralights are now. While I was there, you could see aircraft arriving at the main runways. Plus there were ultralight flights coming and going. I found this one air cam particularly fascinating. I visited Bob Redner's Turban Goose. Bob is a neighbor at Pontiac. Also spoke to the owner of this beautiful goose restoration. Checked out the South 40 for the first time from the tram. Got to watch this balloon land. Chased down Kermit Weeks as he was heading to lunch. We talked briefly. Checked out the Warbird area and the Gathering of Corsairs briefly. I'd cover the Warbird area more in depth on Tuesday. Got a P-51 pilot on one of the trams. He was interested in buying an RV-8. We talked. Watched the air show from the pavilion. It was an excellent vantage point. One of the best things about being able to stay in home-built camping is the pavilion. It was a wonderful base of operations. I used it as my office, as my shelter. It was where all my friends gathered together in the morning and talked, and in the evening and talked. It was a great place to hang out to watch the air shows, and I had a perfect location, so close by it, right by the big square apron. Steve Thorne and Matthew. Watching the air show from the food court. Found this old friend. My very first motorcycle was Suzuki TS125. This one looked like it was in really good shape. Greeting more friends by the aircraft. Another beautiful sunrise. Another morning in the pavilion. This time with donuts for breakfast. On Tuesday, I decided to go over to the Warbird area and do some more in-depth exploration. I took the Warbird tram for the first time. That was an interesting experience. The good thing is it saves you a lot of walking. The bad thing is it's a very bumpy ride, so it's hard to take pictures from the tram that won't be blurry. I saw a couple of planes that I wanted to investigate after the tram ride. A couple of T6s with the characteristic football-shaped antenna, the dorsal antenna behind the cockpit. Those aircraft are ex-Spanish Air Force, and my very first T6 ride was in one of those ex-Spanish aircraft. Every time I see one, I'm looking to see if it might be the old one that used to belong to Mike McIntyre. I'm not even sure that plane's around anymore. Unfortunately, one of the planes I photographed was involved in a stall spin accident over Lake Winnebago, and the pilot perished. This is the one that was lost. Back to the pavilion for more bookkeeping and hanging out. Then I visited Bud at his welding forum. After that, I went up near the home-built camping registration area because Herman was doing a presentation on his aircraft and what it's like to fly from Germany to the United States, which he's done several times. It was a very interesting presentation, and I was honored that he asked me to take photos for it, which he has published in various websites. After that, I met up with Scott Thompson at an author signing event at the EAA main merchandise store. Back to Sleepy Hollow to have a few beers and make a few friends. And then I stopped by Mike Timpin's campsite, said hi to the gang that hosted me last year. It was good to see this bunch again. That's the famous SOS Brothers balloon. And here comes another storm. Gonna get nailed again. It got pretty intense. I'm surprised we didn't get hit harder. Everybody seemed to come through it okay. And here comes another one, just like the other one. Got a break and was able to do more bookkeeping. Dave Carrick and Thaddeus Hogan stopped by to say hi. Then I was off to the Arthur J. Gallagher tent for a social gathering. There were actually two of them. One was on Monday night. That was the RV social that I thought I was going to on Wednesday. Unfortunately, I missed the Monday one. That's a shame. I didn't get a chance to see a lot of good friends that would have attended that. I still had a good time at the second gathering on Wednesday night. Then back to camping to watch another one of the daily afternoon air shows. The passing rainstorms did provide some pretty spectacular backdrops for aviation photography. A couple of my neighbors, Chad Davis and Bud Keel, Oshkosh puts on 2 night air shows, one on Wednesday night and one on Saturday night. I stayed up for both of them. Wednesday night was pretty good. Saturday's kind of faltered. They had some technical difficulties during the pyrotechnics, but they're still great fun to watch. Thursday morning, I actually got up after sunrise for the first time. I did my usual morning photo collating, and then I had to go to the first aid station. I developed a heat rash in my armpits, especially my left armpit, so I went and got it treated. Following doctor's orders, I stopped by the EAA warehouse and got a couple of polyester shirts because they'll wick out and dry out faster than cotton. Got a chance to visit with Steve again. I stuck around the pavilion a lot on Thursday. I went to SOS Brothers for dinner. Then back to the pavilion. Another party at the pavilion. hung out, said hi to people, watched the air show. I took more photos during this air show than I had on previous ones. I had dreams of cutting back on photography this year. My total came to 950 photos. About midweek, some of the attendees at Homebuilt Camping start heading out. By the time you get to the end of the week, the campground can be mostly empty. Yep, looks like another storm's coming in. We may have even had a tornado on the ground to the north of us.
holding the tent up with my body right now.
Another beautiful sunrise by way of apology. That morning I went to the EAA museum. Scott Thompson was going to put on a presentation there. Scott has a website called Aero Vintage News, specializing in B-17s and civil service. He was putting on a presentation called Scrapping Our World War II Air Force. I had breakfast at the museum. Best breakfast sandwiches ever. I went back through the Warbirds area and checked out where the tri-motor was operating. I was invited to ride with John Maxfield on Saturday and wanted to get my logistics straight. SOS Brothers for dinner again. Took a few selfies by the plane. Whoops, shouldn't have left that one in there. Yet another storm's coming and it's looking bad. This was the worst one of the whole week. I didn't videotape during it, but I did capture these stills. This was a rough one. Another beautiful sunrise offers comfort after last night's storm. Good morning, campers. It's Saturday morning, July 29th, and I'm recovering from the storm that we went through last night. We had quite a few thunderstorms this year, but last night was heaviest thunderstorm I've ever ridden through in a tent, that's for sure. We weren't supposed to have anything come through, maybe a little rain initially, but of course the forecast changed. That seems to be the trend with every storm we've had. And got quite the lightning show in the distance and watched it as it came closer. And then when the rain started, it was kind of light with a lot of lightning. Some of it pretty darn close. And then the rain started gradually getting stronger and stronger and stronger. I don't think we had any hail, but I've never experienced rain like this before, especially not in a tent. Just a deluge. And it would just pour and pour and pour, and then you'd get a little bit of a lull and kind of hope, is that it? And no, it would come back even stronger, and it kind of bluffed us several times like that, where it would give you just a moment's respite and then come back even harder. Just a deluge, and the winds were chaotic. The tent was flapping around in every direction. It was hard to tell where to brace it. And then eventually we started getting some mainly winds from the east, so I had to brace this wall for quite a bit. Oh, brother. That sounded like an announcement. Anyway, the rain just went on and on and on for a couple of hours. And then when it finally started trailing off, then we got a real strong wind from the east that just blew like crazy. I stood up against this wall of the tent and braced it as well as I could, because at that point it was starting to pull out some of the stakes, the tent stakes, and I was trying my best to keep this place upright. And again, just another hour of that, and I never experienced anything like that. I was just raging against it. I was like, no, you're not knocking down my tent. So yeah, it was a real long siege, but eventually it calmed down. And I got a chance to go outside and check the damage, and there was a few corners pulled up, outrigger lines pulled up, and one center floor stake had pulled up. That was the one that had me worried that if I didn't brace the wall, the whole thing would have rolled up like something rolled up. I don't know. I'm still really exhausted. I ended up sleeping in my clothes just because I wasn't sure how wet the ground was. I knew it was pretty wet in here, but everything survived. I mean, I kept everything on the chair here, and that was good, and I actually did get some sleep. Woke up to a beautiful sunrise, got my coffee, and volunteers made me eggs, so all's well that ends well. But boy, what a storm. went up to the Ford Tri-Motor staging area to get my ride with John Maxfield. There were 2 people ahead of me, and each one of them was going to do 2 circuits, 15 minutes each. The first guy did his 2 circuits. The second guy had done his first and was in the middle of doing his second when an accident closed the field. I was bummed out both for the missed opportunity and for the cause.
You know, it's really weird being at AirVenture at Oshkosh on a Saturday midday and hear absolutely no aircraft engines running.
I knew I wouldn't be able to leave before the air shows started, so I just relaxed and enjoyed the rest of the day. The departing weather made for a beautiful backdrop for the air shows, and I was glad I stayed. Between air shows, I greeted more friends and said goodbye to others. I took some notes during the whole week because I'm so forgetful with names. I know I took pictures of some of these people and they're not in sequence, but I want to say hi to Martin LaRue, Jay Pratt, Bob Leffler, Larry Sissom, Dan Ray, Anthony and Laura Puca, Maxwell Crestport, Jeremy, Antonio, Tom, Ryan, Buck Ryan, Mark Lee, Chad Davis, Bud Keel, Steve Allison, and Dennis Murray. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I enjoyed our conversations a lot. Things were winding down. Another beautiful dawn. Time to pack up and go. Goodbye, tent. Thank you for your valiant service. As I was packing, I was interviewed by a news reporter. Caitlin Holt of NBC 26 in Green Bay interviewed me as well as other attendees about this year's AirVenture. A neighbor helped me pull the plane out, and it was time to go home. Okay, I think I'm ready to go. I think I get somebody coming up.
36, right side, line up and wait. And Bonanza, 36, left side, you're clear for takeoff. Brown, Cessna, left side, line up and wait on 36. Alright, good turns everybody, you're looking good. 150 heading prior to the tower, and the RV with the blue and gold on the right side, you're clear for takeoff, runway 36. And 50 Fox 2, Cessna, right side of 36, line up and wait. ground. Cessna left side 36, you're clear for takeoff. And what do we got here? Red stripe, high wing tail dragger, left side, line up and wait, runway 36. Cessna on the right side, you're clear for takeoff.